Yeah, well, I think it's an important question because I think it is something that is going to address, I think, a lot of the companies that people will talk about. So there are companies that are domiciled in Europe, but there's some companies whose business is in Europe, and there's some companies whose business headquarters and the know-how and competitive advantage that they have comes from Europe, but they have global businesses. And Swatch is clearly one of those. So as I said, 57% of the sales come from Asia, 40% come from China. So that's a massive exposure that they have. But it's one that I'm very interested in because I think the basic demand in China for goods like that, so for luxury and for aspirational consumer goods, I think is one of the key drivers that we have. And I think it is a demand that is going to continue to be with us for a very long period of time. So even though we're currently at a moment where people are concerned about a slowdown in growth, which I frankly think is something that is normal after a period of very high growth, I think that it's one of the reasons why it's an opportunity. And so some of the numbers are that in China right now, only 3 in 10,000 people have a Swiss watch. It's a statistic, but that's less than half than is the case in Mexico, in Russia, or in Turkey, for example, which are further along in terms of their development. It's an indicator for where these things can go, and it's completely correlated to income. And another statistic is that the number of people making $16,000 to $34,000 a year in China are going to grow from a lower number to something like 164 million until 2025. And I was just in Munich listening to BMW, and in there, which is another aspirational luxury type of good that one should really think about. And BMW talks about the premium relevant consumers in China, and that's people who make more than $100,000 a year. And that number is expected to go from 15 million this year to 45 million by 2025. So in both cases, a tripling of the addressable market, and those market sizes are almost the entire size of the European market and of the US market. So what you're going to have in China over the next, is it 10 years, is it 15 years, is it 25 years, is that you will have this massive growth, you will have this massive increase in income, and those consumers are going to want to buy the things that we in Europe and people in the States have. And that includes these goods, and that includes watches. So it's a general argument, but I think that is one that's very relevant. And in the case of Swatch, we have a company that has 40% market share in China, that has the greatest brands. There's obviously Rolex, and there's others that are equally great, but there's room for them, and therefore has a very long growth trajectory in front of them that I think is very compelling in terms of investing in today.